From Lagos, the nation's commercial capital, this is the news at 10. Live from Channels Television. Reporting tonight.
Hello and welcome. Tonight, military bombards insurgents in Borno forest, kills 56 sect members. Over 50 people rendered homeless in Lagos as fire destroys 2 houses in Ijesha area. We review the education sector in 2013 and the challenges of working with a budget of 426.53 billion naira. And 14 people killed in suicide bombing on a trolley bus in the Russian city of Volgograd. And on business news tonight, AMCON receives commendation from the leadership of the financial market as investors get paid.
And on sports news tonight, 7-time Formula One champion Michael Schumacher remains in critical condition after a skiing accident.
I'm Linda Kibuyan from Abuja. Choir PDP re-strategizes and begins rebuilding of the party after losing huge membership to the APC. We begin tonight with the onslaught by the military on members of the terrorist group Boko Haram in the northeast. And the military says it has killed over 56 members of the group in Alafia Forest in Borno State, believed to be a stronghold of the militants. A statement by the Defense Headquarters reveals that security forces launched ground and air operations on locations in the forest about 21 kilometers from Bama, leading to the death of the terrorists, with 2 soldiers sustaining injuries. It adds that the multinational Joint Task Force also foiled an attempt by terrorists to set up a base in an island on Lake Chad. Earlier, the Director of Defense Information, Major General Chris Olukolade, spoke to us on the telephone on the encounter.
Weekend, when the Nigerian security forces launched a ground and air operations on a terrorist location that was discovered in that Alafia forest. That's about 21 kilometers from Bama in Borno State. And it led to an intensive fight between the terrorists and the soldiers. In the process, yes, 56 of them lost their lives, and we have 2 soldiers who were wounded, and the operation was successful by our judgment.
Let's talk about the area that this operation was carried out. Is there anything that could have happened to the civilians?
We don't expect civilians to be in that location because it's deep in the forest, and it was a newly established camp of the terrorists, and from all indications it was a base that was meant for them to continue their operations. There is no way an innocent civilian will be in that environment where they made their camp. Okay,
tell us about the operation at the Lake Chad Island.
Yeah, that was an operation carried out by the multinational Joint Task Force, and it was successful in foiling the plan by the terrorists to use that island to mass up their strength and carry out attacks against some Nigerian communities. In the process, 7 of them lost their lives. We are aware that the rest of them are fleeing in different directions. Some towards Niger Republic, some towards Chad Republic. But the troops are in their trail, and we have sufficient intelligence that we believe will help us track them down, or at least prevent them from carrying out any activity against Nigerians.
When the emergency rule was declared in Adamawa, Yobe and Borno states, many thought it wouldn't last long, but it appears to be dragging. You want to tell us why?
We must make it clear that just like you will notice elsewhere where terrorism has been experienced, it doesn't come as a matter that ends as suddenly as we were possibly expecting. Generally, we believe that we've made sufficient and very good progress, at least in containing the activities of terrorism.
Meanwhile, 8 people have been reportedly killed and several others injured after suspected Boko Haram sect members opened fire on a bachelor's party in Tashanalade village, Borno State, northeast Nigeria. Eyewitnesses told Reuters news agency that 3 Boko Haram members came on motorcycles at about 11 o'clock yesterday night and shot indiscriminately. Nigerian forces have stepped up the offensive against the rebels in the past few days after Boko Haram fighters armed with grenade launchers and anti-aircraft guns attacked an army barracks in the town of Bama. Well, the victories recorded by the federal government in the war against insurgency should not be underestimated. This is coming from the Minister of Information and Supervising Minister for Defense, Labaran Mako. Mr. Mako, who was a guest on our breakfast show, Sunrise Daily, says the federal government is collaborating with neighboring countries like Cameroon to stop the insurgents. He said even as the year is winding down, government has not in any way been distracted in the face of all the challenges.
Because of the increased intelligence, increased security cooperation between the citizens and security forces, you will notice that we have succeeded largely in containing some of the activities of the insurgents in Kano. So if you look at the overall development of how this issue has been handled, you will notice that we have recorded tremendous successes. Are there challenges? Yes, there are challenges because we are fighting an urban and rural guerrilla warfare. We are not fighting a standing army. We are fighting people that wear civilian uniform, that live in congested cities, that strike and run back. So we are not fighting a standing army. And so long as this is a guerrilla war, there will be occasional attacks, surprise attacks by the insurgents. But the overall war, I believe that the federal government and Nigerians are winning. So the successes we have recorded in the last 1 year should not be overshadowed by recent hit back by the insurgents at the Maiduguri airport and at Bama. The reality of the situation is that the success of the security measures will not be without interruptions, will not be without occasional hit back by the insurgents. But we should look at the overall development of what the government has done in terms of containing the insurgency.
With the Christmas celebrations over without reports of any security breaches in Plateau State, the State Police Command is, however, not resting on its oars to ensure a hitch-free crossover night and New Year celebrations. The Commissioner of Police in the State Command, Chris Olape, told Channels Television that the command has put enough personnel as well as equipment on the ground in all the local government councils for a crime-free celebration.
With a peaceful Christmas celebration in violence-prone Plateau State, the police command says it's not time to rest. In about 24 hours, another celebration will commence to usher in the new year, and the police command in Jos plans a tighter security measure.
We are going to work in collaboration with all sister agencies as we have done. We are going to fine-tune that collaboration to include the NDLEA, whom we have discussed with on how to locate all hideouts of drug barons and drug dealers, because we know that there is a nexus between criminality and abuse of drug, particularly psychotropic substances, Indian hemp, cocaine, and so on.
And aside getting its eyes fixed on insurgent attacks, other criminal activities that can disrupt the peace of the state are closely monitored.
Before the Christmas time, if you could recall, we have made a lot of arrests of rapists, a lot of arrests of sodomists, a lot of arrests of culpable homicide-prone human beings who are ritualists who cut off trunks of women, ears and private parts of women. We had paraded them, arrested them, and they have appeared in court. And that has sent signals to others of their ilk and others of their type to be on the run, because the Plateau State and its firmament is too hot for them.
The command, however, wants the public to report suspicious movements within their locality to the nearest police station.
Staying with security issues, the 23 Brigade of Nigerian Army in Adamawa State is advising the Christian community in the state to round off their end-of-year church services on Tuesday by 10 p.m. The advice was contained in a statement signed by the brigade's public relations officer, Captain Jafaru Nuhu. He says the early completion of church services by that time is because of the existing 11 p.m. to 5 a.m. curfew still in force in the state. While acknowledging the importance of night prayers, especially on the last day of the year, Captain Nuhu says the action is in the best interest of the general public. He pledged the commitment of security agencies in the state to the safety of life and property and urged the public to sustain its support and cooperation towards the goal. It's a sad day for residents of two houses located in the Ijesha area of Lagos, as over 50 people are now homeless following an early morning fire that razed the houses. Eyewitness accounts say the fire started from one of the rooms and spread to the buildings, destroying property and other valuables. There are no reports of any injuries or loss of lives, but the victims lament the poor response of the fire service.
Light. Eventually, that number 34, there is a guy living in that house. I don't know whether the guy refuses to off all the electronic appliances, and eventually the house started burning before we realized it, and we tried to rescue the house before we could do something over there. The fire has gone to our own side before, and in fact we are totally naked. There is nothing for us, and this is December where other people are rejoicing, enjoying the Christmas and the New Year, but look at where we find ourselves.
I saw the smoke coming out from this area, so we tried to stop it, but all efforts proved abortive. The occupants are not around. Most of them are not around. Most of them, they have gone out for work. So we only have little children in the house. So I was just fortunate to come in on time. So when I saw the flames coming out from this direction, so I had to call attention for help so that people can help me, so we can stop the fire. But we tried our best.